Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a horror film from the USA, English language, released in the year 2026, directed by Sam Raimi, and this film is called Send Help. So Send Help is about a woman who is in an office space and she wants to, she has aspirations of being promoted, but those around her are actually quite misogynistic, and so she has to put up with a lot. But her boss has said that she is getting the VP role once he leaves. So when he leaves, his son takes over, and his son says that he's promised it to another person. So this crushes her. She doesn't know what to do, but then the boss says, okay, look, we're going on a business venture to Thailand. If you can impress me on this trip, then I'll give you what you want. And so this woman is determined to make this happen, but unfortunately there is a plane crash on the way to Thailand, and there's only two survivors, herself and her boss. They're marooned on this island and there is no help around. So if they are to get out of this situation, they're going to have to rely on each other, but unfortunately there are some hidden truths that come out that make survival a lot more complicated. And so what that is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Send Help. I didn't really know what to expect with this movie. Now when it comes to Sam Raimi, I appreciate what he's done for horror, but I'm not a massive fan. Evil Dead was very entertaining, it was memorable. I don't believe it's the classic everyone says it is, but then each to their own. And so he's also made movies like Drag Me to Hell, which I actually thought was quite entertaining. And so movies that haven't completely won me over, but movies that I can appreciate. And I know that he's very important in the horror genre, especially in the mainstream Hollywood horror genre. And so coming into Send Help, I thought Rachel McAdams, I'm not a massive fan of her. When you think of her, you don't really associate her with horror. And so when I saw the trailer, I thought it looked enticing, it looked very intriguing. And that's the best way I can sum this director up. He's very intriguing. Just having his name to something is going to make me want to go and watch it. And so I wasn't as excited as a lot of people out there were, because as I said, he's a director that I appreciate, but a director that hasn't completely won me over for me to be an all-out fan. So coming into Send Help, I saw this in the cinema. I thought I definitely have to give this a shot. I saw the trailer and I thought it looked very Sam Raimi, and I was hoping that it was going to be a really bloodthirsty tale that was very reminiscent of Evil Dead and Drag Me to Hell, that wasn't taking itself too seriously, but it was gross enough to actually make you flinch. And so after watching Send Help, I will say that it does have the classic Sam Raimi trademarks, where it's disgusting, there's a bit of gore, and there's a lot of insanity. And so if that sounds like your kind of thing, then Sam Raimi is going to deliver in this movie. But unfortunately, I just didn't really like Send Help as much as I wanted to, because there were glimpses of brilliance, but unfortunately there wasn't enough brilliance to make it the movie that I really wanted, which is something I'll go into a little bit later. But what I liked about Send Help is that it does have, as I said, classic Sam Raimi. This is a movie that is a caricature version of the world, and so you're not taking yourself seriously. It's a very darkly funny film. And so if you like Evil Dead, Drag Me to Hell, you'll know what I mean, is that these are caricature worlds where it's almost like a surreal environment and you can really enjoy yourself. This is the definition of popcorn horror, and Sam Raimi has really nailed that, and he does nail that vibe in Send Help. You know that this is a bigger budget horror film, and you know this is a movie that's not going to disturb you. You leave your brain at the door with a bit of popcorn and a drink, and you just enjoy all the carnage that is in front of you. So that is definitely the expectation you'd have with this director, and this is the expectation that really delivered. And that was what I liked. There were some moments in this movie that actually made me laugh. Straight away, you know it's going to be a very unforgiving film as far as misogyny is concerned. All these men believe that they're better than her, but it's done in a way that's light-hearted. It's not trying to be offensive, and so that was something, again, that is a trademark of Sam Raimi, taking subjects and making fun of them, which is exactly what dark humour is all about. And so Rachel McAdams is definitely the best part of this film. This really surprised me because her performance was absolutely fantastic. She plays very well off her boss, and the interactions they have on the island I thought were actually quite interesting. And the way that she transforms from a very, very harmless person to someone completely different, I thought it was believable. And so her performance in this horror movie actually gives you the indication that she has a future in horror films, because she really does know what she's doing, especially in this movie. A lot of people seem to be having fun playing these characters, and so there's a very fun vibe behind this movie. And so the overall setting of the island I thought was decent. There's a lot of questions that needed answering, and so it does build a platform to a very solid horror film. There is gore in this movie. There is over-the-top gore. There is body fluids that come out that was very, very disgusting, and so it ticks all the boxes as far as this director's style of horror film is concerned. But unfortunately, I just felt as though there wasn't enough of that insanity. So that it builds itself up as a really darkly humorous, entertaining movie, but unfortunately the movie does get stuck, it does drag, and the movie is trying to give you insight into these characters, but because it's a caricature world, you don't really care. You want to see it for the insanity, you want to see it for the disgusting set pieces, you don't necessarily want to see it for the characters. And so there's a lot of interactions between the boss and this woman, and not a lot is going on. And so I just thought as though there was a plan there to give you an insane movie, and when the insanity is happening, it's really, really good. But unfortunately, I started to become a little bit impatient because I didn't care whether these characters survived. There's just not enough in them to actually make you care enough, because the movie is a light-hearted film, but I felt as though it was trying to be a little bit too serious for its own good. So you got Evil Dead, that a lot of carnage, you watch it for the gore, you watch it for the funny lines, you don't watch it for, you know, character development. You've got Drag Me to Hell, which is exactly the same. Those two movies knew exactly what they wanted to be, and I thought the continuity was fantastic, whereas the continuity in this movie is very inconsistent, because you have the two on the island, there are some crazy scenes, but then there are scenes where they're just talking or trying to survive, and you just feel as though, okay, I want to get into what makes Sam Raimi so good, and there's just not enough of those elements to actually make this movie fully rewarding, and that was the reason why I didn't really like it. I thought the twist to this movie wasn't that great, and there were aspects of this film that I thought could have gone a little bit further and would have made it even better, but unfortunately I just felt as though it was a very inconsistent piece, not as good as a lot of people were saying it is, unfortunately, but there were moments that I enjoyed. I thought Rachel McAdams, as I said, her performance was fantastic, but it's just not enough fantastic parts in the movie to make it an overall rewarding piece. So if you liked it, please feel free to tell me what you liked about it, and if you want to disagree with me, please feel free, but for me, I just thought as though it was too inconsistent, it didn't know exactly where it wanted to go, and as a result of that, I'm going to give Send Help 2.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.